So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about body confidence or body positivity, and you might have seen that from the title. That's probably why you clicked this video. But yeah, we're going to go straight in. So body confidence and body positivity has been something that I've always struggled with. Like when I was in that awkward teenager stage, you know, that awkward preteen stage when you're about 12, 13 and it's absolutely horrible. Yeah, that type of stage is probably when I struggled with body confidence the most, because things were changing and I was beginning to get self-conscious of the way I looked and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to tell you a bit about my body. A bit about my body just before we get started. So I am like 5'1", so I'm very, very small. I'm 18 years old and I am tiny. So yeah, so I am also kind of naturally petite, naturally like skinny and small, so just to bring that out there. However, I'm into skinny. Like, I don't think I'm skinny. I don't think I'm fat, but I'm not skinny. I'm just not toned. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. I'm not toned. So when I was like younger, I'd always be really skinny and I could eat whatever I wanted and I'd be really, really skinny. But then when I started, after I got my period and I started to experience, I suppose, eating more, I began to put on more weight because I ate quite a lot and I ate a lot of not of the right things. Like I ate a lot of junk food and I started getting a little bit chubby and I could feel myself getting chubby as well, and I was always really, really self-conscious of that, but at the same time I'd never do anything to stop it. I'd still eat as much as I ate. I'd describe myself as an emotional eater, definitely. Sorry, I thought I wasn't filming then. I was like, oh god. No, I definitely think I'm an emotional eater. I eat for whatever emotion I'm feeling, especially if I'm sad. I eat a lot. And yeah, no, when I'm happy, the weird thing is when I'm happy, I don't really feel the need to like overindulge. Like I'll eat like fruit and stuff and I'll be fine. But when I'm sad, that's when I eat way too much. So yeah, when I was about 13, 14, I kind of would start looking in the mirror and just kind of hated the way I looked. And wouldn't be just my stomach, it was kind of like my legs and my arms and like my chest. I'd find it really hard, like, you know, like tank tops. If I had to wear those, I found it hard to wear because of my arms, because I've always been really self-conscious of my arms, and I didn't like my chest being on show. So yeah, that was hard, and also my stomach. So sorry, the lighting has changed because the sun has gone behind some clouds, so it looks quite dark. But for a while, when I was starting to go to discos and stuff, all my friends would be like wearing skirts and they'd be showing off their legs, and I would absolutely hate showing off my legs. And like, it wasn't just the fact, I mean, I would shave them and I would still just I would hate people looking at my legs because I thought they were the ugliest things ever. And that's hard because I was self-conscious of my arms and my legs and my tummy, so that was pretty crappy. So the way that I have of overcoming all of that kind of self-conscious feeling about my body, because I'm not actually that self-conscious anymore, was to just accept that this is the only body I'm ever going to have. And I think that is the hardest thing to understand, because you be looking at somebody else and you could admire their legs, admire their flat stomach, admire their arms, their chest, or that sounds weird, as in collarbone structure, and stuff, or even their boobs, you know, we'll just throw that out there. You could be admiring all of that, but you don't know that that person also has things that they don't like about themselves, you know. And I think that was really hard for me to understand. So step number one is just to understand that we're all different shapes and sizes, and like that your body is yours and you can't change it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you could change it, but for the most part, a lot of us can't change it. And you can do little things to improve your body, like working out. And I highly recommend working out to somebody who hasn't done it before or who doesn't exercise that often. I've been working out now continuously since August. Yeah, it was August. And I have felt so much happier in myself, and I also look better. I'm still not the healthiest person ever. I still eat a lot of crap that I shouldn't eat, but when I look in the mirror, I can see results, and that is what's pushing me to do my very best. And once you start seeing those results, and you will want to do better. There have been times that I've wanted to give up, but I just pull up my top and I'm like, no, I have to do this for myself. So a part of accepting my body for me was doing the little things that I could to make me feel better and to make my body look better. There are things in my body I can't change. I have freckles I don't like. I have parts of my body that I don't like, but at the same time, I can't change those. I think the media is doing such a bad job, because when you look at a magazine, you're seeing all of these beautiful women and men, sorry, just to, like, this is about both men and women, who have like an hourglass figure, and who have like, they have great boobs and they have great tummies and then big bums, and you're seeing that and you're looking at yourself, and because your body isn't represented in magazines, you think, oh, I'm not the way I should be and I shouldn't look the way I do. And so many people are struggling with that because it's ridiculous. Magazines and Instagram and Photoshop and all of those are just focusing on a certain type of body, and that's ridiculous because there's so many different shapes and everybody is beautiful in their own way. So it annoys me that some magazines are just focusing on one shape, one size. And what else really bugs me is the plus size ranges. They'd be like, oh, these models are plus size. What? They are like, oh my god, it annoys me so much because I wouldn't even consider that person being plus size, and these are represented by models who don't, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't want to be saying anything rude, like, they, I suppose, are plus size, but they're not representing the people who are actually plus size. And I don't mean that in a rude way, I just don't know how to say it any better. Yeah, it's just awful, really. And I feel so sorry for boys who feel self-conscious about their bodies, because a lot of girls will say, oh, I feel self-conscious, and they're more accepted, but boys aren't, because, like, I look in them not in the mirror, I'm not a boy. I look in the magazines and there's boys with six packs and really toned stomachs and arms and all of that, and I just feel so bad for boys as well, because I feel like boys are kind of, society tells them to be quiet about these things, and that's not fair either. I think boys, of course, feel self-conscious in their bodies. They feel self-conscious and they're allowed to feel like that, you know, and it's not just girls who should feel self-conscious, and it just breaks my heart that anybody feels self-conscious about their bodies. I think the media needs to change and to start representing people true to who we are, you know, having more of a variety of models of, so we can, I don't know. It's just, I remember being younger and I'd look in a magazine and there'd be this beautiful woman who was absolutely gorgeous, and she'd be so skinny, and I would always feel like, oh, I'm not like that, and I'd feel ugly. And I think they need to change and start adding more variety, so people can start to realise that they're actually beautiful as well. And I think that's important. To be taught more about being able to have body confidence, or if you don't have body confidence, how to try and have it and how to feel confident. For me, how I felt confident was literally just coming to the terms and realizing that I'm not perfect and that my body isn't perfect, but there are good things about it, and no matter what, I can't change it, you know. And that for me was the way. But for a lot of people, no matter what, they just can't come to terms with accepting that this is their body, and that if they don't like it, they just can't accept their bodies, and that breaks my heart. I think it's just, like, I don't know what to say to somebody who doesn't like their bodies. But what I will say is, if I'm looking at somebody and they're saying that they're self-conscious of their tummy, or they're self-conscious of any other part of their body, half of the time I won't even notice, no, not half the time, most of the time I won't even notice it, what they're saying, do you know? I will look at them and I'll see the things that are actually beautiful, like their eyes, or they just could be very pretty, or they could look lovely, and they could have a lovely personality that shines through. And most of the time people don't actually see what we're self-conscious of, and I think that's maybe a little bit of reassurance. I think what I'll always say to somebody is, have you ever been on a bus or a train, or you've been in a restaurant and you see this person, it could be a boy or a girl or whatever, and you just think that that person is the most beautiful person you've ever seen? For example, I was in a restaurant and there was this boy, and he was about, I don't know, 27, I don't know, but he kind of looked like Zayn Malik actually. He had like black hair and kind of like black facial hair, and guys, he had the most beautiful blue eyes, and they weren't like, they were blue and green, but they were like, it was honestly so gorgeous. And I looked at him and I like fell in love for a second. He just absolutely gorgeous. And I'll always use that example because I've often been on a train or a bus and I look at someone and I'm like, wow, and you just appreciate, or they just have a lovely smile or something like that. So to anyone struggling with body positivity, please just try and come to terms with it. And I know that's so much easier said than done, but you are a lot more beautiful than you think. And the thing is, outside looks don't matter. Of course they don't. It's what's inside that lasts. Because when we get old, all of this outside starts to deteriorate. You know, our faces get wrinkles, boobs get saggy, bum gets saggy, tummy gets saggy, everything. And what stays the same and what's the most important is what's in here. And I think that's important to realize that. So although it is important to understand that, to come to terms with our body, like, you know, to feel happy about it, because you've only got this body and you can't change it, and you've got to accept it, and your body is beautiful. Every single body is beautiful. And this is going to sound cringy for a lot of people, which I'm sorry about. Ugh, my leg is cramping. What you need to take away from this video is, for body confidence, or to try and get it, just try and feel that this is my body and I'm just going to accept it, because there are so many beautiful bodies in the world that just because if you feel yours is different, that doesn't mean it's ugly. Also, to do little things to improve your mental health, and to make you feel more confident, like working out or exercise in general, or just dancing, or little things like that will make you feel that little bit better about yourself. And just, I think the main thing is understanding that what's out here doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't. And I would 100% rather, and so many people would as well, be with somebody or to be friends with somebody who has a nice personality and who just isn't all looks, because I know a lot of people who are just all looks and their personalities aren't that nice. Yeah, that's what I just wanted to say. To hopefully you will feel confident over time. It's not something that happens overnight, and like there are still things that I'm still very self-conscious about, but I'm working on, and that's what matters. And yeah, I feel like this is all over the place, but I say the same thing for a lot of my videos. But if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe. And if you do want me to film anything like this, anything related to this, please let me know and I will. And to try and help as many people as I possibly can. It just breaks my heart to see people who are self-conscious in their bodies, and honestly breaks my heart, because I know exactly how it feels to just look in the mirror and just hate what you see. It's awful. Yeah, so just stay strong, stay positive as you can. Oh, also, I also want to say, it's okay if you don't feel positive all the time. You don't always have to be happy. But I'm going to save that for another video, because a lot of people are like, oh, be happy, be happy. But your negative emotions are important too. And I use mine to motivate me to feel more positive after, if that makes sense. Alrighty, I've chatted on for way too. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope it helped. If it didn't, that's okay, because I can go on and on and on, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. But yeah, just stay as confident as you can, stay strong, and you can do this, and hopefully you will see results in yourself. And honestly, I know I've said I was ending the video, but honestly, there are things that I was self-conscious about last year that I'm no longer self-conscious about. So I'm gradually making my way up that mountain, and I will get there. I will. You know? You can do the exact same thing. Just